Another kind of composite problem that we look at has to do with circles and cutting parts out. So specifically, I'm going to put two circles inside of each other. There's one, there's one. And my objective is the area of that ring. Now let's get some dimensions on here, and then we can go ahead and proceed with the problem. Let's say that this inner radius is, let's make it 3 units. The outer radius is going to be 6 units. Now I picked those values on purpose because my goal was to have one be half of the other. I also want to contrast this with the idea that like triangles are half rectangles. Am I going to end up losing half of my total area in this problem? Let's find out. First, let's do the main piece of it, the whole disk from which I'm going to cut this hole out of the middle. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and say, well, let's see. Radius is 6. Remember, we always work in terms of radius when we do area. So area is going to be pi times r squared, so pi times 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. So I have 36 pi. Now, again, I'm leaving my answer in terms of pi. I could turn it into a decimal with my calculator, or simply multiply it by 3. But I don't need to do that here if I don't want to, so I'm choosing not to, just to keep the math a lot easier to write. Now, let's look at our cutout. My cutout area has a radius of 3. So its area, following the same formula, pi r squared, so pi times 3 squared, works out to be 9 pi. So, if I want to talk about the area of the shaded region, I take my original area, 36 pi. I'm going to subtract the part I've cut out, the inner disk, and see what I get. And this works out to be 27 pi square units is my final answer. Now my final answer is not 27. It's 27 pi, so it's 27 times 3.14. So be real careful that you don't truncate that too much. The answer works up to be somewhere around 85 or so when you did the decimal out, and that's me kind of guesstimating pi being around 3 as a value. So use that as a kind of a guideline as you're working along here. But get used to leaving answers in terms of pi, because you'll see that more and more on the various problems that we're looking at.